let's get into Mike Miles. It drives me crazy for a particular reason. We talk about having agency in something. We also talk about accountability. We also talk about personal responsibility. All those things are things that all of us believe in. But when it comes to our Republican leadership, they want everybody to follow this, right? So HISD has some problems. The Houston Independent District has some problems, but it did merit a coup to take over the school.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we got. We got a coup. The Abbott sent his peons out here to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, they brought their genius. And this now goes into what Brother Jack Van Weber had to talk about Mike Miles. Mike Miles was once the superintendent of the Dallas School District. And as soon as he was released or quit or however they do it out there, he went ahead and he formed 3 charter schools in Colorado, right? And these charter schools that he formed were all unsuccessful. But it's not a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Look, let me point this out, people. Charter schools, there is no, unless you are going to a well-funded charter school that is likely have a whole bunch of rich people, there is no charter school that in the aggregate does better than public schools. And it's a math thing. I'm going to get specifically into Mike Miles in a minute, but it's a math thing. Let's do some math. The public schools get money, X amount of dollars from the taxpayer to educate the kids. We have a lot of public schools. We have a great high school in Kingwood, or a great 2 high schools in Kingwood. We have great schools in Humble, in this one school district that I'm in, Humble School District, etc. But if you take a look at how monies are allocated, they're generally not too fair. And I imagine you can see that in the Houston Independent School District as well. So the thing with public schools is we want equity, but we have the ability to have equity because each student get the same amount of money, whether you're in a bad neighborhood, good neighborhood, whatever, get the same amount per student. How that is allocated throughout the system is done by administrators. Now, when we're talking about a charter school takes private dollars. Take your public dollars. And with your public dollars, they do one thing. They skim. In other words, if it's a for-profit, and by the way, they like to say, well, this charter school is a non-profit, and while this other one may be for-profit. Forget about all those terms. When it comes to schools, it's there for administrators to make money for themselves. When you go ask any charter school what the administrators make in those private schools, you'll be quite surprised. All right? But above and beyond, if a private school is also a for-profit school, it has to make a profit above and beyond that as well. And teachers. Now, what about our teachers? The teachers in these charter schools, and specifically in Texas, doesn't have to have the same qualifications as they do in the public schools. In the public schools, you have to have all your certifications, et cetera. In your charter schools, you don't. In your public schools, teachers in tendency to get better pay than your charter schools. Now, we are in a system that says you get what you pay for. In other words, if you want a good teacher, you pay that teacher a good salary. Why you have a lot of people that otherwise would teach becoming engineers in the private sector or lawyers or doctors and not teaching even though they have an affinity to teach is because, teachers are not compensated as they should. I believe some of the highest paid people on this planet, bar none, should be teachers. They are the ones that move our knowledge forward generation to generation to generation. These are the most important people on the planet. Whatever kind of teacher you are, college, high school, elementary, I don't care. You are the ones, in Panama, where I'm from. We look up to teachers as if, at least at the time that I was there, they were the promoters of education. They were the people moving knowledge forward. When you go to a grocery store and you see a teacher, you stand up at attention. This is a person of dignity. In Panama, la licenciada, el licenciado, this teacher, this licensed teacher. Over here, we have a tendency to treat them as if they're the scraps, the person who can't get an engineering job. Even though most of the teachers that I know, most of the teachers that taught my daughter, I honored them because the patience that they have. They spend more time with our kids than many of us spend with our own kids, the most important people on this planet. Yet, we always fund them last, and we try to cut their salaries with charter schools. A charter school, you got a charter school, you don't have to give them health care. You don't have to get them certified. You don't have to do all these things. So they love charter schools. And then they go into black and blue and black and Latino and all these other communities. Because remember, every student get the same amount of cash from the state. So if you go into these poor neighborhoods who have bad schools that shouldn't be bad because they all get the same, these charter schools invest their monies into advertising to convince these parents who are attending bad schools, put your student in this charter school. So they also get a cream of the crop, right? Because the parents that are nurturing their kids in these bad areas, they know they want better. And as opposed to society doing better for their kids, these parents there throw them into the charter schools, which may be a tad bit better than your regular schools. But here's a kicker. This brother who came to take over our school district, Miles, he was a failed administrator on all the charter schools that he commanded. Failed administrator. All of those schools did horrendously bad when compared to all the other schools in their respective states, both Colorado and Texas. And that's who Abbott placed in charge of our school district. But you know what people didn't know? People didn't know that this dude was also going to find a technique to move the cash-rich system here in Texas schools and find a way to funnel it to the failed schools he had in Colorado. That's who is your administrator, Houston. Get off your butts and do something about that.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.